Our accident investigators are on the scene of a fatal auto versus pedestrian crash this evening at the approximate 19,200 block of the North Freeway, or Interstate 45 North, at the approximate intersection of 1960. This crash was reported to us shortly after 9:30 in the evening of June 20th, 2020. This crash involved initially a black Jeep SUV that, based on our preliminary investigation, we believe the driver lost control and crashed into the inside concrete wall of Interstate 45. And based on the preliminary witness statement, a adult Hispanic male and a boy, 4 years old, exited out of the Jeep and were attempting to exit the main lanes of 45 in a westbound direction of travel to possibly exit off the freeway, when a silver Toyota sedan traveling southbound in the number 2 inside lane did not see them in time to avoid them, and unfortunately the front end of the Toyota struck both the male and the child. Both the male and the child ended up dying on scene on the main lanes of the freeway, and the driver of the Toyota immediately stopped and cooperated with the investigation. He does not have any signs of impairment. He appears to be completely sober. He had an adult female in the front seat as a passenger and an adult also in the back seat as a passenger. So 3 total adults in the Toyota, and unfortunately the adult Hispanic male and the child that left out of the Jeep were crossing the main lanes of 45, failed to yield to vehicles on the roadway, and unfortunately the Toyota struck both of them, and they succumbed to their injuries on scene. Right now we have all of the southbound main lanes of 45 shut down while our crash investigators conduct a full, thorough investigation into what might have happened.
Lieutenant, this sounds like an absolutely tragic accident.
Yeah, anytime the lives are lost in traffic crashes, it is tragic, especially when a boy's life is involved. Unfortunately, they were attempting to cross the freeway while they might have thought there wasn't too much traffic. Unfortunately, the vehicles on the freeway have the right-of-way, so the pedestrians have to yield to the vehicles on the freeway. And of course, there isn't a crosswalk where these males were attempting to cross, so unfortunately they were struck by the Toyota.
In a situation like this, what do you advise people to do if they're disabled and they're partially in lanes? What do you advise them to do? What's the best course of action?
The best course of action is, 1, to make yourselves as visible as possible. 2, if you can, to attempt to call for emergency services, either police or fire department, to try to help bring all their lights and equipment to try to make the scene more visible to help. We do not advise attempting to cross the freeway while there's any traffic on scene. If you do need to exit your vehicle, try to be at a location where anything that might strike the vehicle or the freeway doesn't end up striking your body and end up eventually killing you. So it's a tricky situation because it's a case-by-case scenario. Unfortunately, 45, we've seen several of these auto versus pedestrian crashes. They're always tragic, and they seem to be preventable if the pedestrians will know that they should yield the right-of-way to vehicles on the freeway.
In this case, he more than likely should have pulled all the way to the right-hand side, should he not?
If he were in a position to, based on the damage to the vehicle, and he could have pulled over to the right-hand side, that would have been the best course of action. Unfortunately, if the vehicle were damaged to where he could not move it off the freeway, looks like the location toward the inside shoulder, and there's also a HOV lane. It appears to be a safer location than a main through lane of the freeway. However, yes, the best course of action is to try to move to the right side of the freeway, the slower lanes as possible.
And is that the case with the vehicle? Was it disabled so badly that it wasn't able to go?
Based on my initial assessment of the vehicle, both of the driver's side wheels appeared to be broken on the axle, so most likely he would not have been able to move the vehicle toward the right side of the freeway.
And you said 4-year-old boy and adult male?
The adult male we have found is 32 years old, Hispanic male, and a 4-year-old Hispanic boy.
It's like a racquetball. It's a racquetball sign.